Dan Loosemore here from Global Transport Forum. I'm stood with John Adams from Lilee Systems. John, obviously with the PTC deadline now approaching, how important is the role of telecommunications to ensure a fully integrated PTC network?
Well, that's a great question, Dan. The challenge, of course, is that in a PTC network and any kind of a rail transportation network, you have fixed assets, things that are alongside the track, and you also have moving assets, the trains themselves. And of course, what we're trying to do here is protect the people who are riding those trains, make sure that the trains don't do bad things, don't crash, don't spill toxic chemicals, that kind of stuff. But telecommunications, the actual wireless communications aspect is vital here. If that moving train can't have a cable running out behind it for 100 miles, so it has to be able to communicate wirelessly to the infrastructure, to the back office, and communicate the important pieces of information that are required. So telecommunications, the wireless side of telecommunications, is absolutely mandatory to making a successful PTC network. Now, what we've done here is, of course, we've concentrated not only on the wireless side, but we realize that then once you've got it off the train, it still needs to get to the back office. So we've spent a lot of effort to make sure that the wired communications part of that network, the Ethernet, the fiber switching, all the stuff that you don't see is just as rugged, just as robust as the wireless communications link itself. So that even from the back office where the dispatcher is sitting, where they know they can look on a screen, they can know what's going on with the equipment in real time. They can know what the quality of the system is, and they can know if there are communications issues that are starting to crop up, kind of like you're on your cell phone and suddenly no service. Wait, I was just talking to my friend. You had no idea about that beforehand. What we at Lilee Systems do is we try and make sure that you understand what the real-time quality of the communications is, so that if there's an issue that's about to happen, you can at least get a little bit of forewarning on what's going on so that you can do the appropriate safety measures to make sure that everything remains safe and secure.
Thank you very much. And obviously, funding's a big issue for a lot of the railroads. There's an issue around technology selection as well. Standardization obviously plays a key role in not only driving innovation, but also potentially reducing costs. I know that you're also doing a lot of work on standardization. How important do you see that in terms of pushing PTC forward?
Well, thank you for mentioning the standardization work. I'm a chair of an IEEE task group to standardize positive train control communications, and to a broader extent, rail communications in general, the wireless component of rail communications. Go back just 25 years when cell phones first started coming out. They were basically purpose-built two-way radios. I mean, they were two-way walkie-talkies is what they were. And the system that I had growing up in Los Angeles was completely incompatible with a system that somebody, you might have in London or somebody might have in San Francisco. So if I roamed, if I left downtown LA or left LA County, my system didn't work anymore. The steps that we took over the last 25 years ago were to, first of all, figure out a way so that at least locally we could have interoperable communications, so that one handset still worked when I went to the next county over in Southern California. Ultimately, by the 90s or so, we had gotten to the point where we had started to realize that we needed to standardize the radio link enough that you could move across the country to a great extent. But there were still some fundamental problems. I couldn't fly to London and use my phone there. The wireless communications technique was completely different. And so it took a global effort. It took a group of people from the IEEE, from 3GPP, from other global standardization or standards development organizations to get together and say, all right, how do we solve this problem? How do we make it so that Dan can be in the UK one day, be in California the next day, be in China the next day, and his phone worked everywhere? There's carrier issues which are outside of the technology space, but there's a lot of technology issues that need to be resolved to make that work. And so it's only through that standardization effort that we now have global cellular communications where I can be anywhere where there is coverage, which is pretty much everywhere, and I can call you pretty much anywhere where you are on the planet. And that, to me, is just such a stunning success for standardization. We don't even realize how valuable all that very, very low level work. You know, it's a bunch of engineers getting together in a room and saying, how do we make this work? And kind of putting their politics aside for a little while. It's kind of the UN, you know, but hopefully a little bit more functional, I think, where we're able to develop standards that really can allow us to use things everywhere. And that's what the effort of our IEEE group is to, there are a bunch of proprietary systems, proprietary radio systems that are being used right now in the US and North America, and they conflict with the standards-based stuff in Europe. There's Chinese standards that are starting to come into place, or approaches, but we like to harmonize all the different ways that people do it under one aegis so that everybody knows that if they buy a product that's got this standard marked on it, it's going to work for them in their situation.
Thank you very much. And you touched on there the importance of collaboration to make sure that delivery is not only interoperable but successful in the long term as well. How important are events like this one in terms of bringing all the key stakeholders together and really driving that collaborative effort?
Well, PTC World Congress is a great opportunity. We've been involved with PTC World Congress since the very first one. And we just in those 3 years, we've seen such a tremendous growth in the importance of this event. And the event's always been important, but it took a while for the industry to start to realize how important this event really is. And so each year it's gotten bigger, it's gotten better. Lilee Systems is so excited to be part of this opportunity.
John Adams, thank you very much. Have a great show.
Thank you for your time, Dan.
Thank you.
Thank you.